Imagine standing in the middle of a bustling foreign clothing store. The racks are overflowing, you need a coat for a sudden drop in temperature, and as the cashier asks you a simple question, your mind goes completely blank. It's a common trap for language learners. Consider the story of an English teacher who planned to meet a date at 5:15. He waited at the spot, but she never showed. Later, they realized she had actually said 5:50. The phonetic difference between 15 and 50 ended the evening before it began. At a checkout counter, mishearing a single syllable has an immediate financial cost. That same phonetic confusion moves the stakes from a missed date to a drained bank account. Navigating a store in English requires a specific sequence of steps. By mastering the linguistic blueprint of a purchase, from identifying weather vocabulary to confirming exact prices, you can walk away with the right item at the correct price. Every shopping journey starts before you walk through the doors. The environment dictates your needs, categorizing clothing vocabulary into 4 distinct seasons. If the weather outside indicates spring or summer, your search narrows to warm weather items, like a pair of flip-flops. Or if you're heading to the water, you'll need the term for a swimsuit. When the temperature drops and snow appears, the context shifts to autumn and winter. Now you need a different set of nouns, such as thick winter gloves, or a heavy knitted sweater to layer underneath a coat. Knowing the noun for what you need is only the beginning. The next step is communicating that need to a clerk. When you're browsing for any non-specific item of a certain type, you use the indefinite articles a and an. You use a when the following word begins with a consonant sound, such as a jacket. This diagram shows how the rule shifts based on sound. When a word begins with a vowel sound, like the in umbrella, you use an. The choice is based entirely on the phonetics of the word, not just the spelling. If you already have a specific item in mind, you switch to the definite article, the. You say the jacket when both you and the clerk are looking at the same specific piece of clothing. Choosing between a and the tells the clerk whether you want general browsing help or if you are ready to focus on one exact item. Standing at the clothing racks requires spatial grammar. To point things out, you need 4 demonstratives: this, that, these, and those. If you are holding a single item, use this. For example, how much is this scarf? If that same scarf is out of reach, hanging across the aisle, use that. The rules are similar for plural objects. If you are holding multiple items, like a pair of gloves, use these. If the gloves are across the room on a table, use those. To avoid repeating the noun, use the substitute pronouns one for singular items and ones for plurals. You can simply say, I like the yellow one, or I want the brown ones. Combining these demonstratives and pronouns allow you to identify specific items without sounding repetitive. At the cash register, you use the transactional questions, how much is this for a single item, or how much are these for plurals. The clerk's reply is the final hurdle. You must correctly hear the spoken English price. This chart visualizes the phonetic distinction between similar numbers. Numbers like 13, 14, and 15 end in an elongated teen sound. The multiples of 10, 30, 40, and 50 end with a short, sharp T sound. This explains why 515 and 550 are so easily confused. If the heavy N sound in 15 is swallowed, it sounds nearly identical to the sharp E sound of 50. At the register, missing this suffix means you might hand over $90 when the clerk actually asked for 19. Returning to that original clothing store, the traveler is no longer paralyzed by the interaction. You successfully identified the season, chose the correct article for a sweater, used a demonstrative to point it out, and confirmed the price. These specific linguistic steps make the difference between a confused checkout and walking out with the right item. While these rules prevent overpaying for a jacket, they establish the basic patterns to specify objects and quantify needs in any English conversation.